I have had very little to do with this bill in the sense of writing it. I think most of us feel somewhat the same way. I am growing increasingly concerned about the bill as to whether it's really going to be a stimulus. I come from a state which has more people unemployed today than the populations of over a dozen states. A state where the breadlines are growing, where the need for assistance is growing, where the state has a huge deficit, where counties are unable to fund their operating maintenance, where all capital projects have stopped, and where the state is now furloughing employees. I think while we dither, Rome burns. I think that this crisis is so multidimensional, and the dominoes are falling so much more rapidly than any of us thought, and they are pushed from so many different points. The fact that people can't get credit if you're a big corporation to open a new hotel, credit if you're a small employer to pay your payroll, credit remains frozen. The housing crisis continues to work its problems. What, in my view, a stimulus is not, candidly speaking, a tax package. I do not believe in this economy tax cuts are stimulative. The current state of the package, as I understand it, is that the tax cuts are 40% of the package. 20% is local assistance, state and local assistance. 15% is safety net spending. 15% is infrastructure spending, that's all. And 10% is other spending. So I don't know how many jobs are going to come out of this, because it is my belief that people's buying patterns have changed. This morning, a number of my colleagues talked about a report from the Congressional Budget Office, and what they didn't do is they didn't quote for certain parts of it, and I'd like to quote of what they found, and here it is. $1's worth of a temporary tax cut would have a smaller effect on GDP than $1's worth of direct purchase or transfers, because a significant share of the tax cut would probably be saved. As a matter of fact, we have evidence of that. Last year, we approved $130 billion in tax cuts, primarily through a $600 per person tax refund. After all that money was spent in 2 tranches going out, there was little or no perceptible impact on the economy. But we don't learn. In fact, study after study shows that upper-income taxpayers are less likely to spend the refund checks they receive than those with low incomes. According to a recent CRS analysis, tax cuts are likely to have, quote, diminished stimulative effect.
Senator has used 4 minutes.
May I just finish the thought? I thank
Senator from Montana. Without objection.
Additional minute, Senator from California.
I cannot finish the thought.
Minute.
All right, I will see.
I don't know how long your thought
But you got the general effect. I pointed out that in the end of the day, you know, I think there have been some significant layoffs, and all along the retail industry, whether it's Starbucks or whether it's various retail establishments, whether you have lines like Gottschalk's department stores, 45 stores in California going into bankruptcy, whether you have banks closing, whether you have Macy's laying off 10,000 people, buying patterns have changed. I read a study where people aren't buying as much toothpaste. That's an indication that there is an angst out there, a worry about this economy. The point of this package
the senator's time
is to get
expired.
jobs out to people. And so I reserve the right, at the end of the day, to vote against a package that I don't think puts those jobs out there. That's my point.
Who yields time?
Mr. President.
Senator from Montana.
Mr. President, in order to clarify some confusion that may